Internet, this is yellowlyric. I am trying desperately to just start a video blog. I have actually been filming myself for the last week, all via my phone camera, and then just today I found out that all of those files are saved in QuickTime, and I cannot edit them on my computer until I have some kind of a way to convert them from QuickTime back to something else that I can edit, apparently. So, I guess what I wanted to talk about today, had a really interesting adventure throughout the state of Washington this weekend. We actually went from Portland, Oregon to Spokane, Washington to Seattle, Washington. Actually spent a few days up around Arlington, Marysville area. Hi guys, I miss you. But one of the big things we talked about a lot up there was Indigo children. Now this is something that has been coming up a lot in my own life as well as in news and in other things. I was born in 1991. I do believe that I am an Indigo child. I am open to skepticism on that. If somebody wanted to map out my genome and challenge me on it, then they can go for it. I'm about finding the truth. I'm not about trying to make myself sound special. So, essentially what I've learned is that an Indigo child is someone born after 1970 or 1978. They have a indigo aura, thus the name. Now, as funny as that might sound, the whole aura thing, when you're talking to someone who is either sensitive to those types of things or who is an Indigo child, it makes total sense, because I personally can't see auras. There are some people who say that they can see auras or they can see spirits and they see them all the time, that kind of thing. I'm more of a feeling type of person. I get really strong emotional readings off of people. I mean, I can tell when someone's in a bad mood, even if they're acting totally normal, that kind of thing. And it all sounds pretty normal when you put it like that, but in a little bit more of a spiritual sense. Like I can, like I said, I can't see it, but it's almost like there's a physical something in the air around them type of thing. So I guess to go into the legitimacy of why I think I'm an Indigo child, like I said, I was born in 1991. There are some interesting stories from my mother that I've heard going back around my own birth, and that is I was her first child. Prior to having me, my mother had lots of abortions, and that's what she shared with me, and so I don't feel bad about saying that, although my mother's never going to see these videos. So, yeah. So, Mom had lots of abortions, and essentially before I was born, she had dreams. The way that she puts it, God came to her and said, you need to have this child, and here I am. Now, even though she had me, the other thing is that she was going to have me adopted. I was in the custody of another family who believed that they were not capable of having children, and shortly after giving over my custody to them, she had another dream where these monsters were trying to, again, as she says, demons were trying to steal her baby away and take me away. And when she woke up, it was the middle of the night, literally the middle of the night, she woke up my aunt and uncle, and they just went and got me. They went and convinced the family to give me back. So, not that my mother was ever the best parent. Mom, love you. But certainly, I mean, she certainly loved and cared about me a lot, and so, I mean, that's strange. Not everyone's parents are like, oh, I had, dreams about, you being born before I knew you were pregnant. I had, vivid dreams of demons trying to carry you away from me, that kind of thing. I mean, maybe, but I've never heard anything like that from other parents. So, there was that. Then the other thing I hear a lot of is Indigo children are supposed to be really smart. Well, I would like to think I'm really smart, but to back that one up, I guess when I was 4 months old, my first word was hot, and it wasn't just like hey, like, a lot of baby talk, people get in their babies' faces and they say something over and over again and try and get their baby to repeat it type of thing. My mom never did that with me. She was carrying me, holding the wee babe, by the stove, while she was boiling noodles for me to eat. I was 4 months old, and I pointed at the stove and said, hot. And when my mom told me the story, I'm like, wow, that's really cool, aren't I neat? But it wasn't until I started hanging out with people that had, like, 6-month-old babies that couldn't say a damn thing, and started to realize, that's really weird. Babies, if I had a baby in my arms like that old, and it pointed at something and just told me what it was or what it was doing, I'd probably throw it and scream demon child. So, I mean, I commend my mother in that case for not dropping me into the boiling water, or calling me a witch or something. So, there's that. Again, with the ADD thing, my mom had taken my sister and I to a doctor's appointment. It was for my sister. She had an earache, something like that. Here I am running around, tearing things up in the waiting room. I'm flipping over chairs and things, and the doctor had the nerve to look at my mom and go, I have a prescription for that. And again, to my mom's credit, she basically told the doctor to fuck off, and that was nice of her. So I didn't have to be medicated as a child. I always felt really, really bad for all the friends of mine that whose parents couldn't put up with it, and they would put them on medication, and they just turn into little zombies, and sad day. So there was that. Teachers had mixed feelings about me. I would have, especially when I was really young, my first couple elementary school teachers just despised me because I could not handle doing what they told me. They would say, Rachel, sit down in your chair and look up here, and I'd be like, why? There's, like, trees and stuff out there. I want to go climb them. And so I remember being in a art class, I would crawl around under the seats, and then when they finally got me to sit down, I just was so pissed that I mixed all the colors up, and it messed up all the other kids' paintings, and I wasn't a very obedient child at all. So there's that. And then about the time I think I was in the 4th grade, they started putting me in special ed classes. They did not believe I was smart. Basically, I couldn't read fast enough. The way that they tested your intelligence at my school, I guess, was they had you sit there and read out loud as much as you could in 1 minute. And I couldn't read out loud. I'd never had to read out loud. I'd never practiced reading out loud. I could read in my head, and I could comprehend things, and I was super great at that. You could have me sit down and read a whole book, and I could tell you, what happened beginning to end, and I do to this day. Sometimes I'll go off in little tangents. So my comprehension has always been off the scales, but I couldn't read out loud, so they put me in, and between that and the fact that I annoyed the crap out of the teacher, they put me into a special ed class. Very quickly, while I was in that class, they stopped letting me answer questions, because it was clear enough to the teacher that I was smarter than all the other kids, and I was embarrassing them, and I wasn't giving anyone else a chance to answer questions. Now, this just pissed me off even more, because instead of saying, hey, this kid's too smart for special ed, they just kept me in there. So from about the 3rd grade until the 6th grade, I was in strictly special ed classes. Now, it was about that time that my stepdad died. We ended up moving from California up to Oregon. And when I came to the school in Oregon, I guess they didn't actually look at my prior transcripts to see what kind of classes I was in there. Thank God. So they just retested me with different tests, and once I had done those tests, they realized, like, fuck, this kid's really smart. So they put me into all advanced classes from that point on out. Other than math. I wasn't super great at math, but reading I could do, other things like that. Let me think of what else. I've always clicked really quickly with the people that are my friends, and I believe that's because we're all Indigo children, either in other Indigo children or other, at least hypersensitive to their surroundings, things of that nature. So, I mean, people, Paradox from my other band, Chick or Twisted that's helping us with that. Got a friend, Ashley Davis. Her and I met the first day, I think, I was at that new school. Sat next to each other. She was drawing a griffin. Besties ever since. Trying to think of what else I had written down. It was about that time when I moved to Oregon that I started getting really close friends who had also had really vivid experiences with paranormal. Now, I personally, this is one thing that draws question in my own mind to whether or not I am an Indigo child, and that is just that I don't get things like I've never been haunted. I've never been abducted by aliens. I don't think so. Let's not jinx that one, I guess. Or let's. Hey, guys. But it was about that time that I moved to Oregon that I started to meet people that had things like that happen. Now, I've never had things like that happen, per se. I do get deja vu and deja vente all the time. Especially when I was a little kid, I wouldn't call it being psychic, but I would know what was going to happen. And I would even stop and tell, like, my sister or something, like, hey, this all happened before. You're gonna, oh my god, you just did that. Okay. So, I mean, things of that nature I've always had experiences with. Things like, I'll want something to happen, so I'll just think about it, and I'll think about making it happen with my mind. As weird as that might sound, but I'll think about making something happen with my mind, and then it will. For example, just everything that's happened in my life recently. Moved back up to Portland, decided I don't like my job. I don't want to keep doing it, but I want to still have money. So I got fired, which I thought was going to be terrible. Other than I felt really great about it. And then I got unemployment. And it's almost my birthday, and so I keep getting money in the mail from people. And then this whole band thing just worked out. And now that I don't have a job or any particular attachments here, I'm really free to just go and do whatever I want. So, I mean, things like that, where it's just, that's cool. More recently, I've been able to experience these things more vividly. I've been able to have a thought and send it to someone and see the results almost immediately. I can't, and I'm not saying I can read minds. I'm not even saying that I can project my thoughts clearly to someone else. I'm just saying that it seems as though I've been able to think something at someone and they actually react to what I wanted to. Actually, a really good example is my ex-boyfriend and I. We could do those kinds of things all the time, back and forth. The reason he's my ex-boyfriend is because I think on a lot of other spiritual levels of that nature, I felt disconnected from him. I couldn't connect to him. But it probably just because we spent so much time together, it was really easy to pick up on thoughts, if that makes any sense. Yeah. I can't think of anything else to talk about.